These measures may include analyzing cost variances, identifying areas of excessive spending, re-evaluating procurement strategies, etc. So these are corrective actions to control costs and ensure that the project stays within budget. If you have found this video helpful, please press the like button and subscribe to this channel PMP for more PMP style questions. The four PMP question types ranked by frequency of occurrence in your exam. Let's get started. Number rules. And trust me, these rules.
Are you kidding? You have to be kidding. Refuse to believe this is real. Project manager, PMI, 2025 certifications.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the PMP exam question and answers practice session. Hello everyone. Welcome to our PMP exam questions and answer solving session.
Welcome to PMP Exam Questions Confidence Booster. This is designed specifically to build your confidence as you get ready for your PMP exam. I know some of you are in the early stages, maybe you've just attended a 35-hour course and you want to see how much stuff you've retained and how you can get into the rhythm of the questions. So we'll take a look at questions. I'll give you a few seconds after I read them. Let's jump straight into the people domain first. People domain questions. Karen is a project manager on a large-scale health implementation project. One of her team members expresses concerns about unclear responsibilities. Which is the best course of action? A. Coach the team member in confidence to take the role. B. Hold a meeting to clarify roles and document them. C. Hold a team meeting to identify other team members with this problem. D. Ensure Maslow's pyramid and hierarchical structure is inherent in rewards and recognition mechanisms.
Boom.
All right, well, let's take a look at the options, and if you need more time, feel free to hit the pause button as I will reveal the answer. So using the process of elimination, there's certain things we do, like on the exam, you cancel the options that are not that great. A, coach the team member in confidence to take on the role. Now, whether that says coach them in private or whether this says give them coaching in how to be confident, this does not address the issue. The issue is unclear responsibilities. C, hold a team meeting to identify other team members with this problem is not solving the problem and is redundant. And D, ensure Maslow's pyramid and hierarchical structure is inherent in rewards and recognition mechanisms. That could be all well and good, but still this individual could end up being confused. So the best answer is B. Hold a meeting to clarify
Okay, Hassan
roles
teknik
and document. So when you clarify and document roles, ensuring that all team members understand their responsibility, you are promoting efficiency and reducing confusion. Let's go to the next one. Two team members, Sarah, the
You're done.
analyst, and Michael, the product
I'm
lead,
done.
repeatedly clash.
That's fair,
The
that's fair, that's
heated
fair, that's fair.
exchange starts to be into personal territory. With raised voices and pointed language, you sense the tension rising and a potential for the disagreement to derail the meeting's momentum and worse, damage team morale. What should you do first? A. Schedule a private meeting to understand the issues they are facing. B. them resolve it themselves to foster independence. C. Issue a formal warning and document the behavior. D. Immediately request
Okay, we go.
the Human Resource Department to intervene and
That guy right
mediate
there, I think.
immediately.
Are you picking that right side? Ooh.
Alright, my friends, let's take a look at the options again. On the exam, you are expected to use the tools that you have when they make sense. And one of the tools that I advocate is the striker, just as I'm demonstrating.
Did you
now.
pick on this side?
So the first thing you would do
Why
is take a
go
look at
this
the
way?
options. A. Schedule a private meeting to understand the issues they are facing. That doesn't sound like a bad option, but let's check the others. B. Let them resolve it themselves to foster independence.
Come on.
So
I'm
it
gonna go ahead
says,
second.
the heated exchange starts to veer into personal territory. So this is becoming problematic. This is likely to end up damaging team morale, as you can see in the last sentence. So you need to get in front of the conflict. Doing nothing is
Okay,
not
we're
the
gonna
best
set that
course of
reload,
action.
dude.
Take a look at C, issue a formal warning and document the behavior. That still does not help the matter. And D, requesting HR to intervene and mediate immediately. That's why they hired you, right? Because if you are the project manager on this project, which you should assume that you are, based on the ambiguity of the question, then your job is to get in front of this conflict and to understand, hey, what's going on? So the best answer, my friends, is A. I hope this is helping you boost your confidence and give you some hope as you prepare for the exam. Again, it's all about reading the question and then analyzing what is the best thing to do. And we are in the people domain. Number 3.
Got him
You
2
are the
times. You
project
mentioned
manager on a
flicking the
large-scale
hero right up there.
infrastructure implementation project. The project sponsor is unavailable for critical decisions. What is the best approach to maintain project momentum? A. Pause the project until the sponsor is available. B. Make decisions within the delegated authority limits. C. Escalate the issue to senior management. D. Consult the project team for a democratic decision.
Hold on, Dana.
Alright, so let's take a look at the options. Again, using the strikeout tool for the process of elimination. What is the main problem here? It says,
Hold on.
project
I don't know how I did not
sponsors
kill
are
him,
available
dude. I feel like I
for critical decisions.
should.
Using the process of elimination. A. Pause the project. We're talking about the entire project. Putting on pause? No, that's not a good idea. Let's see if there's something more sensible. B. Make decisions within the delegated
Daggum, dude.
authority limits. So, critical decisions
Why
need to
pop
be made.
it?
What do you have the authority to do within the governance specifications?
I got you. I got you. I got
Point
you.
where you are allowed. Beyond that, you got to do something else. So, B is not a bad thing to do, right? Because it's within your delegated authority. But let's take a look at C. C. Escalate the issue to senior
Hold
management.
on.
Now, it
Dude, my
says,
nails are like
project sponsor is
numb.
unavailable, but you
There
are the
come.
project manager. You can make some decisions within your delegated authority.
Please.
To
Please,
blanket,
dude.
we say escalate the issue is like a mother may I. It's like I don't have the authority. It's like being a crybaby in some way. And this is not how you are expected to think as a PMP. You can make some decisions within your delegated authority limits, even critical decisions. So don't let the fact that it says critical decisions throw you off. This is where you put on your leader hat And in the
Dude, I
absence of the
thought I
project
had that.
sponsor, if it is within your delegated authority, you make decisions.
Thought I
But the
had
best thing to
them.
do is not to immediately escalate the issue.
Might not.
And D, consult the project team for a democratic decision. Again, you are the project
Thought I
manager.
had that.
This is what you are meant to do. Make decisions within your delegated
Probably not.
authority limits. So the best answer here is B. Everything else isn't bad, but it still boils down, when you chose D, still boils down to you being the PM. Remember, the PMI tell us that the one thing you cannot delegate is integration, right? And integration has to do with leadership, has to do with directing, it has to do with monitoring and control. So on the PMP exam, the options that say escalate or ask for permission, they're usually red herrings. So let this be a wake up for those of you who have not encountered such. Okay? So the answer is B, making decisions within delegated authority. It ensures continuity and demonstrates effective leadership and
I
responsibility.
knew they was fucking pushing me.
A key
Jeez.
stakeholder expresses dissatisfaction with the project's progress. At a review meeting, how should you handle this situation? A. Justify the project team's efforts and challenge the
Another guy
stakeholders'
right
view.
there.
B. Acknowledge their concerns and revise the project plan to accommodate. C. Arrange a one-on-one meeting to discuss and address their concerns in detail. D. Suggest they communicate only through formal channels. Okay. Taking a look
Be a
at
bully.
the options and using the process of elimination.
Mommy doesn't like bullies. Mommy spanks
Ooh.
bullies.
So, it says,
That boy.
dissatisfaction with progress. Justifying the project team's efforts and challenging the stakeholders' view sounds combative. This is not the best way to go, so we will cancel that. B, acknowledge their concerns. That's good. But it says revise the project plan to accommodate. Well, acknowledging their concerns is good, but you don't just revise a project management plan without further context and understanding. So B is not the best answer either. D, suggest they communicate only through formal channels. That is rigid and that is anti-PMI right off the bat. So it seems like we're left with C, arranging one-on-one meeting to discuss and address their concerns in detail. And that would be the best option. Okay, let's move on. Number 5. You notice a decrease in team morale after announcing a project extension. What is the most effective way to boost morale? A. Offer incentives for early completion of tasks. B. Organize team building activities. C. Increase the frequency of performance reviews. D. Implement mandatory overtime.
Slapped them with a sniper rifle.
Mine, you go ahead.
So, when you think about Herzberg's hygiene factor, what comes to mind here? What is the motivator that will boost morale, and what is the hygiene factor?
Move.
The hygiene factor
I know it's my
is
business.
incentives. The real motivator could be other things, such as those activities to boost their morale that show
Okay.
worth, relevance, and importance.
No.
So when you think about Herzberg's two-factor theory, it becomes very evident that the monetary rewards and incentives are the hygiene factor.
Do you see how hard this question is? It says you noticed a decrease in team morale after announcing project extension. What's the most effective ways to boost morale? give them an incentive to do their job faster, organize a team building activity, increase the frequency of performance reviews, or implement mandatory overtime.
Hey,
Yeah, obviously.
I wish our company operated like that. Our company would be like D. And but
mandatory overtime.
Yeah, no joke. I'm not even
But
joking you.
keep in mind, most of these people that you're working with in project management are on salary, so mandatory overtime is not even additional pay. You know.
Yeah, they don't even think about us. They think about themselves. The worker is actually the one that
If you really
works.
wanna boost
It's like a
morale,
no.
there should be something more long-lasting and intrinsic and meaning. So,
Like a
using the process of elimination, offering incentives is not necessarily the best way to boost morale. If you take away incentives, it could demotivate, but increasing them under most circumstances does not. So you're left with B, C, and D. Increasing the frequency of performance reviews is not likely to do that. And D, mandatory overtime, sounds like more drudgery. Definitely not. So when you really boil it down, the best options you had were A and B. A is an illusion. It could work for some people depending on the circumstances, but the best option with the information that we have is to organize team building activities. This is where we
That's the
boost
best?
team's morale. Remember, it said team morale. This is not the morale of one.
That's freaking
singular
trash.
individual.
Because
This
in
is
my
as a
mind,
team. So if you're looking at the team as one
organizing
organism,
team building activities would piss me off as a team member. Because I'd be like, we got extra work to do. And
you're taking my time
you're
away from my
killing
job.
time doing this. Yeah, like, let's just freaking do the job. Baby, I'm not gonna play with you. I'm doing something. You can see I'm doing something. So, just stop. Shut. Sugar. No.
way is option B. Alright, let's move on to the next one. So there's the rationale.
The idea
For
being
option
that
B,
team
let's
building
go
helps
to
build
number
morale,
6.
which was the concern.
A project team member from a different cultural background is misunderstood often by the team. What should you do to improve communication?
Enough!
Provide cultural sensitivity training to the team. B. Assign someone to translate for the team member. C. Ignore the issue as it might resolve on its own. D. Reassign the team member to another project. Give you some time to think about it.
And I would really like to get off the bus. Get underneath the blanket or something.
Alright. Let's take a look at the options. So, the best answer here, my friends, is A. Provide cultural sensitivity training to the team. It's one of the more obvious ones. The other options, assigning someone to translate, does not mean that the team will
Dude, you got right in my freaking way.
Golden Oreo Cakesters. We decided to show off our salsa.
Why didn't you stop being a vigilante? Line was crossed. I was raised to believe in grace. I was also raised to believe in retribution. Daredevil Born Again, only on Disney Plus.
How can I get $75,000 from home upgrades without draining my savings? 2 words, home equity. And Rocket Mortgage makes it really simple. The first step is to check out their free online calculator to see how much cash you could get out of your home and what the monthly payments could look like. No pressure, no cost, and no upfront credit hit. And whenever you're ready, connect with one of their home loan experts who can help you get the funds you need in a matter of weeks. No need to dip into your savings or deal with crazy credit card rates. Just tap the link to see how much
Oh, we
cash you can
traded in. Jeez.
Understand this individual's cultural background.
Mm.
It doesn't seem to be a language issue, and that's why the question stresses cultural background. So, cultural sensitivity training could definitely help. B, assigning someone to translate, not necessarily. C, ignoring the issue. And again, you have to ask the question, how does this solve the problem? C clearly does not. Assigning them to
Ooh,
different
got that
projects
guy.
clearly does
Shit at
not.
me,
It
boy.
just takes away one team member. So when you look at assigning someone to translate, how feasible does that sound? How many times have you seen that happen in the real world? Is that a sensible solution? And in instances where the solutions sound bogus and not
Reload
realistic,
this. Not a bad
I
guy.
need to translate
Oh,
everything
go right
that
there.
people say in between
Can shit him, so
2013.
I'm gonna push
It just
up.
doesn't make sense. And that's why the best option here is A. Provide cultural sensitivity training.
Literally
to
somebody
the
shooting
team.
freaking mortars off.
Alright, let's go to number 7. During a critical phase, you observe that the communication among team members has significantly reduced. What should you implement first? A. A stricter policy on communication. B. Scheduled daily stand-up meetings. C. An open door policy for team concerns. D. Performance appraisals focusing on communication skills.
Okay, let's change
Alright,
loadouts
well,
because we're
let's
gonna have
take
to
a
do
look
it.
at the options. So, a stricter policy
It
on
won't know when we're gonna do it.
sounds rather draconian, is not necessarily going to go down well with the team. Remember, we're talking about team morale, team growth, the ability for the team to communicate transparently. B, schedule daily stand-up meetings is not a bad option. That will definitely
Go
help
kill
the
out,
team
dude.
to share information in a more streamlined and regular manner. C, an open door policy for team concerns is not going to help the communication among team members. And D, performance appraisals is not going to help communication among team members because that's a major issue. So the best option, my friends, is B. I hope these questions are helping you. Remember, this series in particular is designed to boost your confidence. For those of you that have been for training, you're trying to get into the swing of things. A lot of these are softball questions put in the context of the relevant domain to help you get back into the swing of things. All right, so I hope this helps you and serves as a kind of pick-me-up quiz so that you can leverage how you feel about these questions and go on to the more difficult questions, the more very technical questions. All right, so if you're enjoying it, smash the like button. Let's move on to the next one. Number 8. A project team member is consistently missing deadlines. What is the best immediate action? A. Assign another team member to share their workload. B. Discuss the issue with the team member to identify causes and solutions. C. Report the behavior to higher management for disciplinary action. D. Decrease their task assignments and responsibilities.
Up top, up top, up top, up top, up top. Come on, baby. I'm back. On us. Go.
All right, my friends, I hope you're getting quicker at this. The best answer here is B. Assigning another team member, which was A, does not help. Reporting the behavior to higher management for disciplinary action could get a more rebellious team member and someone whose heart isn't in the project anymore. And D, decreasing their task assignments and responsibilities is not necessarily going to help. They are consistently missing deadlines, so you need to identify cause and solutions, and that's why B is the best answer. Discussing the issue directly can help identify whether there are personal issues or resource constraints and allow constructive feedback. Number 9, you receive feedback that meetings are too frequent and not productive. What is the most appropriate action? A. Increase the length of each meeting to cover more topics. B. Decrease the frequency and improve the agenda. setting. C. Discontinue meetings and switch to email updates. And D. Ignore the feedback as meetings are mandatory.
Dude, if that guy would have died to me, that would have been embarrassing.
Alright, so taking a look at the options. Increasing the length of the meeting, A, doesn't make sense, does it? The meetings are not productive, why do you want to make them longer? B, decrease the frequency and improve the agenda setting. Doesn't sound like a bad idea. If there's an agenda, at least people know what to expect and they're likely to be more productive. C, discontinue meetings and switch to email updates. That does not solve the issue. The issue is meetings are too frequent, so make them less frequent and make them more productive. How do you do that? Option B, decrease the frequency and improve the agenda setting. D, ignore feedback is not helpful. This is burying your head in the sand and ignoring concerns. Alright? Okay, so the answer to
Come
that is
back.
B. Let's go to number 10. The project is running smoothly and you have a high-performing project assistant. How best to motivate and retain this assistant? A. Recommend them for a higher position in the organization. B. Offer a salary increase and bonus incentives. C. Provide opportunities for professional development and training. D. Increase their workload to match their skills.
Dude.
Alright, this again is drawing on your understanding of the whole Maslow Herzberg idea. So you have A, higher positions, but do higher positions mean happiness, right? Not necessarily. And then B
That's not the question.
is another form of a hygiene factor.
You know,
Offering
that's
a
one thing our
salary
company
increase
really fails
and
at.
bonus incentives. Again, this is
Like,
something that is
Giving
a
the
hygiene
workers
factor. Taking it away could be
motivation.
bad, but making it more is not necessarily going to motivate. So this is really testing you on the concept of motivation. The best answer to this is C. It's to provide opportunities.
For who?
Increasing their workload to match their skills is not necessarily going to improve their motivation.
Okay.
But might depend on
The question is, how do you best motivate and retain the assistant? So how do you keep this person who's a really good performer? Do you recommend them for a higher position? No, because then you lose them. Do you offer them more money and bonus incentives? Duh. Do you provide opportunities for professional development and training? So you just give them more skills? No, because they're gonna leave. If they have more skills, they have no reason to stay there.
Unlike my work, the promise you skills and never give them to you.
I literally don't want to hear you ever complain about your job again.
Why?
You're not gonna quit. If you complain about a job, you're not gonna leave.
Well, when a job tells you things and then they lie about it. Oh.
individual. The best answer is C. Offering professional development opportunities helps in retaining skilled employees by investing in their growth and satisfaction.
Yeah, pay with
Okay, we're almost at the point where we will take a break, but let's jump into a few more. John is a project manager at a large engineering firm working on a major infrastructure project. During a team meeting, two key engineers have a heated argument about the design approach. The conflict is escalating and causing disruption. What should the project manager do first? A. Immediately refer to the team charter to understand how best to resolve conflict. B. Ask both engineers to explain their perspectives and find common ground. C. Use emotional intelligence to understand the source of the conflict and use a compromise strategy to make everyone agree. D. Mentor both engineers from the project on anger management to eliminate the conflict. Alright, so when you get long questions like this on the exam, of course you have to read them first, but then you use the process of elimination to take out the useless options. So mentoring them on anger management is not your place. You're not an anger management expert. Alright? C, use emotional intelligence to understand the source of the conflict is good, but it strictly says compromise strategy. Recommending a compromise strategy, which is compromise or reconcile, which is where someone concedes to the will of the other, is not the best option in this case. So we're left with A and B. Now, realistically speaking, the project manager should understand how conflict is meant to be resolved. Referring to the team charter to understand how best to resolve such conflict is not realistic. It sounds rather goofy as well. Asking the engineers to explain their perspective should actually come first before looking at how to resolve conflict of whatever nature it is. So the best option is B. Ask both engineers to explain their perspectives and find common ground. Understanding the root cause of conflict and finding a resolution that satisfies both parties is key here. Next question. Jen is a project leader on a small hybrid project to develop a new drug. One of the team members constantly interrupts and undermines others during meetings, leading to frustration and reduced productivity among team members. What is the best course of action for the project manager now? Is it A, coach the team member to respect other people's points of view without directly mentioning the incident? B, reprimand the team member during the next meeting in the spirit of transparency on the team? C, address the behavior privately with the team member and set clear expectations? D, replace the team member with someone more cooperative? I'll give you some time to think about that.
Oh, they're not pushing that, dude.
Alright, but let's take a look at what the possible answer could be. So, what is the problem here? One of the team members constantly interrupts and undermines. So, do you coach the team member to respect other people's point of view without mentioning the incident directly? That's not being transparent and not being honest. B, reprimand the team member during the next meeting. That doesn't make sense in the spirit of keeping things confidential and not berating people in public. It's just poor leadership to do that, even though some people do. So we'll cancel A and B. Going over to the next one. C, address the behavior privately. That's key. With the team member and set clear expectations. C is a more worthwhile option. And D, replace the team member with someone more cooperative. That again is not a solution to the problem at hand. So, over the past number of minutes, my friends, we've been taking a look at confidence booster questions. The idea of these questions are to help elevate
Got 33, that's
those
it.
who are taking the exam, about to take the exam, or gearing up to get your mojo back. Because when you go for a live class and you don't work on questions immediately, you tend to lose steam and forget. So I put these together to be somewhat softball questions with a little bit of thinking, but not so much technical heavy thinking. Again, these are from the people domain, remember that? So the main goal for our study today is to get you into the groove, more into the groove. And then in my other videos, my 200 question video, my 250 question video, those will give you a lot more difficult, tough, technical kind of questions. Okay? So I hope this is helping you. If it is helping you, do smash the like button. Our goal is to get to 15 questions for today, and then we'll be done and dusted. So let's go to
There we
the
go.
next one.
Like, I don't like this.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive and you'll get round the clock protection.
Nope, not your classic nugs at all. Crispy chicken nuggets from Taco Bell.
In the early days of the apocalypse, death was our most constant companion. We had to draw lines. Who to let in, who to keep out.
Target. Target practice.
The thing about lines, though, sooner or later, someone is going to cross them.
Military attack on Homestead is imminent.
An attack by who?
Raiding camps and taking slaves. Putting together some sort of army. They want the Homestead arsenal.
Mom, there's someone in the forest.
What the last one?
There's a girl that can see the future. You know what happens.
I saw them die. Over and over.
There's a 600-man army coming to kill us and strip this place bare.
Why would I go through when I could just take it to Time to give them hell, boys! Time to give them hell! Protect our family. This unjust homestead! Beware! They'll tear us from the earth!
Can I hop out of that? Jeez.
It's darkness out there. That's all it is. This place, your homestead. A light. Without that light, what's the point?
Okay. So this is question 13. And let's read it together. Jimmy is a project manager on a small agile project using Scrum to develop a software application. The team is diverse, with varying levels of experience and cultural backgrounds. He notices that some team members feel left out of decision-making processes. What should the project manager do first to support diversity and inclusion? A. Assign tasks based solely on seniority to ensure all the team members feel respected. B. Increase the involvement of junior team members in decision making. C. Continue with the current process to avoid disrupting the workflow. Or D. Hold a workshop on cultural sensitivity and inclusive decision making. Give some time to think about it. All right, my friends. Well, let's rationalize. So if this is an ongoing issue in a team, how best should one handle it? Should one handle it by just making more people speak during meetings and demanding that they speak, or almost as it were, force them to speak? Or is it better to expose them to the logic and the rationale behind decision making and cultural sensitivity? Because it says the team is diverse with varying levels of experience and cultural backgrounds. So this is something that should be addressed at the team level.
How the
So
heck
take a
did
look at the
dude?
options. Assigning tasks based on seniority. No, you're not going to help inclusion because the junior employees are going to feel not valued and not respected. B, increase the involvement of junior team members in decision making. Now that's not bad, but how? By making them speak, by ensuring that they
Get out of combat. Get out of combat. Stay out of
give more.
combat. Yes, there we go.
While that sounds good and well-meaning, you got to get down to the root, and this
What
doesn't
the
tackle the root. Continue with the current process does not address the issue, so you're left with D, holding a workshop on cultural sensitivity and inclusive decision making, and this is going to get the team talking, is going to get the synergies going, and it is going to end up being of value to the entire team. So the best answer here, my friend, is D, holding a workshop on cultural sensitivity and inclusive decision making helps foster an environment where all team members feel valued and included, improving overall team collaboration and morale. Let's go to the next one. Number 14. Maria is leading a cross-functional project team at a tech startup. She wants to inspire, motivate, and influence her team to achieve their project goals despite tight deadlines and high pressure. What is the best action for the project manager to take? Is it A, implement a strict rule for extended work hours?
How did we
Is it
lose
B,
this?
focus solely on meeting deadlines and occasionally on team morale? C, set clear achievable goals and recognize team achievements regularly. D, set challenging stretch goals for the team to grow and expand to greater heights. Give you some time to think about it. All right, my friends. So let's take a look. Maria wants to inspire, motivate, and influence a team. So, again, implementing strict rules for work hours is not the best way to inspire, motivate, and influence the team. Focusing solely on meeting deadlines and occasionally on team morale, it does not help. It might help a little bit, but not to the degree that we would like. C, set clear achievable goals and recognize team achievements.
Okay, I'm getting just freaking
Recognition
lit
goes
up,
a long
dude.
way when it comes to motivating and inspiring and influencing. So C is not bad. D, set challenging stretch goals for the team to grow and expand to greater heights. So, challenging stretch goals. Stretch goals are not bad, but let's read a little bit more. She wants to inspire, motivate, and influence the team to achieve their project goals despite tight deadlines. So when we talk about stretch goals really stretch the individual to the ends of their prowess and ability, and stretch goals don't happen overnight. So while these sounds like a good idea, they may not be achievable within the tight deadline that we're looking at.
No, I'm good, dude.
And besides, we are focusing more on project goals, not stretch goals. So the best answer here is C, set clearly achievable goals and recognize team achievements. When you do this, it helps inspire and motivate the team, maintaining high morale and productivity. Let's take a look at number 15 and then we'll take a break at that point. Tom is managing a marketing campaign project and notices that one of his team members consistently underperforms and misses key performance indicators, KPIs. What is the first step the project manager should take to address this issue? A. Discuss the performance issues privately with a team member to understand the root cause. B. Conduct a survey to understand challenges everyone is facing causing the underperformance. C. Ignore the issue and be confident that the team member improves on their own or through peer pressure. D. Immediately replace the team member with a higher performer. I'll give you some time to think about this. All right, so what we're seeing here is a team member that is missing KPIs. It's not the entire team, it's just one team member, and you can see that from the underlines here. One of his team members. So this isn't something we're going to do publicly, right? So A is not a bad option. Discuss the performance issues. B, conducting a survey to understand challenges other people are facing is not a bad thing, but it's not going to solve the problem and it's not the first thing we do. C, ignore the issue. It's not going to help ignoring the issue. We got to address the issue, right? And that's in the spirit of PMI with transparency and leadership. And D, immediately replace the team member with a higher performer. That still leaves the initial team member in a lurch, and it doesn't solve the problem. Okay, we're not just going to go pull someone else in. We are going to likely want to help that team member. So the best option is A, discuss the performance issues privately with the team member to understand.
Dude's on top, dude.
That is the best course of action. Now, we are at the point where we are going to take a break, but when we come back, we will continue.
Okay, we're gonna play the long
just
game.
Remember what our goal is. Our goal isn't to take on the big, hairy, audacious technical questions today. Our goal is actually to get our arms around the question, ease back into it. It's like you've been out of work for a while, and you need to ease back into it. Well, that's the general idea for us to be able to do that, for us to feel not threatened by the questions, because you do know that some of these questions are pretty aggressive, and before tackling the more aggressive questions, the intent is for you to feel just a little bit more comfortable with these ones. I call them softballs, but they're still up there with, I would say, the easier range on the exam. It is possible to get some questions not as threatening as twice as hard. So this
Where are these guys at, dude? I'm getting shot at. Freaking stupid.
I crank it up a whole lot. So you want to look for my knowledge area quizzes on the channel, on the @PRAIZION channel, and you also want to look for my two.
Wait, is that Whitney?
Yeah.
In this video,
Everybody's just staying on top of that freaking building, dude.
that are the
Little
closest to the
Eskimos.
exam. These questions are situational and they cover all the exam domains. If you are looking for realistic questions, don't look further. You are in the right place. Let's get started.
Now let's review more PMP questions in order to improve your readiness for the final exam. Let's get started. The first
Sure,
question
there's something
says,
you can get on
"The
put the
project
camera back."
manager is facing some struggles
Do you think you get
after
apparel?
finding your
Counter it?
Her
No.
superiors noted that
course not.
during the kickoff meeting, she had difficulty answering
I'm
questions
stupid.
about how the project fits in with the organization's objectives. What critical skills is management lacking? Business improvement, ways of working,
dogs. I'm about to kill them.
Three skills. The first skill is way of working. The second is power skills, and the third is business owner. Alright, so here we have the communication skills is part of the power skills. So if we are going to choose, we are going to choose among these three options. So
I can't do nothing.
Shut up!
since the project manager is having difficulty to understand the organization objectives, is most probably related to the business acumen skills, so the project manager should focus on this skill set. Let's check the right answer. Yes, the right answer is A, and the project manager possessing the business acumen skills should be able to explain the business value of her project and how it aligns with the organization's goals. Alright, let's move to the next question. The project manager is assigned to an eco-friendly packaging project. In order to manage involved stakeholders, the project manager starts by analyzing their power, urgency, and legitimacy. Which analysis method is the project manager applying? Stakeholder cube, salience model, power interest grid, or power influence grid? Let's have an idea first about stakeholder cube. Actually, this is how stakeholder cube looks like, and it takes into consideration three parameters: the interest, the power, and the attitude. As we can see here, the power interest grid takes into consideration only two parameters and classifies stakeholders according to power or interest. Power influence, on the other hand, classifies stakeholders based on power and influence, and stakeholder cube classifies
They hit me, dude.
stakeholders as per their attitude, power, and interest. You can see here the different classification of the stakeholders based on this method, and since here the project manager is using power, urgency, and legitimacy, by elimination, stakeholder cube, power interest grid, and power influence grid are all wrong options, and the right option should be here, the salience model. If we get a deeper look into the salience model, it looks like that. We have the power, the urgency, and legitimacy, and based on these three parameters, we are going to map stakeholders. So here, the first category is considered as dormant stakeholders, like we see here. The second category here is discretionary stakeholders. 3 here, demanding stakeholders. 4, dormant stakeholders, and so on. So in your PMP exam, you don't need to keep by heart all these categories. You should only learn that the salience model entails of classifying stakeholders based on their power, their legitimacy, and their urgency. That's it. So let's verify the right answer. Yes, the correct answer is B. Let's move on.
Freaking them barking. This. She can't see them outside.
That his colleague, who is a fellow project manager, shows up at the office with new high-tech gadgets every day. This raises his suspicions that his colleague might be accepting gifts from hardware vendors who will be bidding on one of
Baby,
their company's
bark
upcoming
3 times, not just keep
multi-million-dollar
barking.
contracts. What should the project manager do next? Let's
I love
see
you.
the different options. Warn the concerned colleague that such gifts aren't appropriate and leave it at that. Okay, here let's go back to the scenario and check out the keywords. This raises his suspicions, which means that there is no facts yet about the situation. So here warning the colleague is not appropriate because the project manager is not sure yet that these are gifts or not. Okay, let's check B. Convince his colleague to return the items and stop accepting any gifts from vendors. Here also the option entails that the colleague already took these gadgets as gifts, which is not proven yet, so I'm going to eliminate A and B. C. Verify whether these items were gifts from vendors or he purchased them himself. So verification is a good next step in this scenario, so I'm considering this as a good option, but let's confirm with the last option. Report his colleague to the organization so that conflict of interest investigation can take place. Alright, so here reporting is not also very good option in such case because you're still suspicious about the situation, and maybe you need to verify first whether these items were gifts from the vendors or he purchased them himself. And once you confirm that these are gifts, you can report the colleague to the organization. Here you might be asking what you should do to verify. You can simply ask the person, these are your belongings, or is it something that you have received from the vendor? And the person could reply to you, and based on their reply you can take the appropriate steps. Let's confirm the right option. Yes, the right option is C, and the best way to act in this situation is to verify facts before taking any action. Alright, let's move on to the next question. A project manager is working on a contract.
Dude.
Know that she completed the contract and closed the project. The project manager is
Screw
out
this
of work.
game, dude.
Okay, so means that the project manager is no longer working on the project and no longer working on the organization as well. What type of organizational structure does the project manager work in? Strong metrics, projectized, fractional, or weak metrics? Let's have a quick look about the different organizations first in order to decide which organization structure does this project manager works for. Okay, the first type is functional here, and for the functional organizations, the project manager's authority is little to none, resource availability is little to none. Who manages the project budget is the functional manager, and the project manager is usually working part-time, and the project management administrative staff is also part-time. On the other side of the spectrum, we find the projectized organization, where the project manager's authority is high to almost total. Resource availability is also high to almost total. The project manager is the one who manages the budget. The project manager is working full-time, and the project management administrative staff is also full-time. So here we find in between the metrics organizations. We have three types: the weak, the balanced, and the strong. In our case, we have here the weak metrics in our example, and we have the functional, we have the strong metrics, and we have the projectized organization. In such a case, we can see that in this project, the project ends and the project manager is out of work, which means that most probably the organization is a projectized organization. Let's confirm the right answer. Yes, a project-oriented organization or a projectized organization is one in which a considerable part of its processes and activities take place in the form of projects. There is no defined hierarchy. Resources are brought together specifically for the purpose of a project. When a project is complete, they either get transitioned to another project or release it, and that's the characteristics of the projectized organization. Let's move on to the next question. After deciding to invest more in the project management capabilities of the organization, the PMO is established to ensure compliance with a set of project management standards. What type of PMO is the organization implementing? Supportive, controlling, directive, or agile? Actually, we have three types of PMOs. We have the supportive or consultative, controlling, or directive. Agile is project management approach. In agile organizations, we could have PMOs as well, and usually these PMOs are called Value Delivery Office, and they are usually supportive or consultative PMOs when it comes to agile. In traditional project management, we could have these different levels of PMO involvement, and in such case, we have a PMO that ensure compliance, which means that they are not supportive, they are not just providing the support, but also require that the project manager comply to these processes or these documents or whatever guidance they provide. And that makes the correct option is B, controlling. Directive is not correct because with the directive style of PMO, they take over the projects. They don't just give support or they require complaints. They step in and take control of the project, and that's not the case here. And let's confirm the right answer. Yes, the right answer is B, controlling PMO, focus focuses on two key areas: supporting the organization in applying project management practices and requiring compliance with these practices. Alright, let's move on to the next question. In an interior design project for a library, the client asks the project team to increase the number of bookshelves beyond what was agreed on. Since the project
It just comes out, dude.
and adding additional shelves will not cause any delay, the project manager consults to the client's request. This is an example of either gold plating, customer obsession, scope creep, or successful project. Alright, we have here requests from the customer to the project team, and the project manager accepts the request since it doesn't cause any delay. Okay, here we can notice that the project manager took only the delay as the criteria for accepting the process. Okay, and that's a problem actually, because this considered as a change request, and once there is a change request, the integrated change control process should be followed, and in this case we can notice that it is not followed appropriately, and the project manager is not taking
Dude, that was a
the change
headshot.
request to the control board.
That was a freaking headshot.
Document the process appropriately. So we don't consider this as a successful project, and we don't consider this as customer obsession. Why it is not considered as a customer obsession? Because usually with customer obsession, we are trying to satisfy the client by giving them what they requested and respecting the project scope and providing the quality that is requested. Customer obsession should not be by extending the project scope without following the agreed upon processes. Okay, we are left with two options: gold plating and scope creep. Actually, the difference is gold plating when the project team usually is doing something to please the customer. The customer didn't accept for the change, but the project team themselves try to do some changes to please the customer. In our case, the client asks for the change request, so it doesn't come from the project team. That's why it is not considered as gold plating. And the right answer should be scope creep. Let's confirm. Yes, the right answer is scope creep, which is also known as feature creep or requirement creep, which is the uncontrolled expansion of the project scope. The project manager should assess the change request from all perspectives. No.
With Tinder Double Date, you match and chat as a pair. So yeah, we're updating our profile pics together. I'm dead.
Always Flex Foam stays dry and fresh. See what foam can do for you. A Chewy order is on the way for Rue, who can speak for himself, but can't shop for himself. So when he gave his Rue approval on the food Dad bought on Chewy, Dad put it on auto ship. So it always gets delivered right on Rue's schedule. The flavor Rue loves, the savings they love. For automatic delivery and 5% savings, for life with pets, there's Chewy.
Not just delays, and follow the change control process in order to implement the change. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. After a discussion with the development team, the Scrum Master decided to label backlog items as short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Soon after, the Scrum Master got an email from the product owner asking them to remove those labels without giving any clear explanation. What should the Scrum Master do next? A. Ask for an explanation. Okay, so here in this situation, we need to understand
I can't believe that, dude.
of each the Scrum Master and the product owner. Here we see that the Scrum Master labeled the backlog items, and we know that the product backlog is owned by the product owner. Okay, so here since the product owner asked the Scrum Master to remove the labels, so the product owner has the right to do this request. Okay, so A, ask for an explanation. Okay, the Scrum Master can ask an explanation later on that since the product owner owns the product backlog, maybe the Scrum Master should implement what the product owner asked for, and later on maybe informally request for an explanation. A is not maybe the best option. I would wait and check the other options, and maybe if we don't find any better option, maybe ask for an explanation could be right, but let's check others. B, call for a meeting to address this issue. Actually, we are not facing a real issue here. The Scrum Master did something that the product owner is not agreeing with. That doesn't really require a meeting, I think. So here, call for a meeting to address this issue is not appropriate. We have the conflict and we have the product. We are in a situation that the Scrum Master should simply apply what the product owner asks for. Let's check the other options and look if there is any better option than B and A. C, wait until the next sprint planning meeting to update the labels as per the product owner's request. Actually, the product owner soon after requested by an email. The product owner could wait for sprint planning, for instance, but he did not do that. And since he didn't do that, then we should not wait until the next sprint planning, and the Scrum Master should act quickly, and that makes C not a correct option. D, remove the labels. I think that's the next course.
DJ 301, you freaking no life.
Removing the label, not waiting, not asking for explanations, not calling for a meeting, just remove the labels. Why is that? Because the product owner is the owner of the product backlog. Scrum Master should not take the responsibility of the product owner unless the product owner requested from the Scrum Master to do that. Okay, so let's check the right answer. Yes, the product owner is responsible for the product backlog. Consequently, the Scrum Master should remove the labels as per the product owner's request, even if they didn't get any clear explanation for this decision. Okay, let's move on to the next question. The risk manager is collaborating with the project manager to perform a risk analysis. To determine the most likely project completion date based on known risks, they conduct a simulation using the tool to go through thousands of possible scenarios. And here, since we have thousands of possible scenarios, we should immediately think about Monte Carlo analysis. Don't think twice, because it's the only method that we use for thousands of possible scenarios. It's also the only method we use to iterate these scenarios using advanced softwares and powerful machines. Okay, so let's confirm the right option. Yes, the right answer is A. As you can see here, we didn't go through the different options. In your PMP exam, once you are pretty much sure about the answer, take it and go to the next question. Don't waste your time. We have seen this advice before, and now I would like to emphasize it more and more. Once you are sure about the option, select it and move forward. Okay, let's move on to the next question. The project manager who follows the servant leadership style is onboarding a new team member who he believes can help fill skill level gaps in the current project team. The project manager provides the new team member with a copy of the project charter and commits to sending her a copy of which addresses team values, ground rules, and working agreements. What's this document that has this stuff? The employment contract? No, the contract usually doesn't have ground rules and team values. These documents are usually related to team, so we don't find resource management or communication management plan either within this document. Actually, this document should be the team charter. Let's confirm the right answer. Yes, the team charter is a document that is developed in a group setting to clarify team direction while also establishing boundaries. Alright, let's move on to the next question. The project manager is leading a project that has become so large, multiple teams, long duration, and huge budget, that the sponsor has been replaced by a steering committee. Okay, so before we have a sponsor, now we are having a steering committee. What should the project manager do to accommodate this change? A, acknowledge encourage that the stakeholder structure has changed and tailor communication accordingly. Okay, here is good. I mean, we can see that the project is acknowledging the change and tailoring the communication accordingly. That's good. Usually when you see the term tailor, that's an indication that the answer is right. But let's confirm whether this is the best option or not. B. Work according to the original plan. Okay, usually when you read this, I would advise you to not continue reading, because maybe they will give you in the second part something to let you convince that this is the right option. But since we start like this, work according to the original plan, it is not a good start for the right option. Here, as if you are ignoring the change, so don't continue reading and skip to the other option. Okay, let's see the other option. Hold the meeting. This is good. Let's continue reading with the new steering committee and continue working on the project. Okay, the first part is good, but this part not that much, because here
Shot from the freaking angle of the week.
changes. Just holding a meeting without showing any willing to adjust your communication according to the new change. So I'm not liking this second part. I would prefer option A over option C. Let's check D. Share an updated status report with the new steering committee. Does this accommodate this new change? No, it's not going to resolve the issue. It's not going to accommodate the change, since sharing the status report is part of the communication strategy, and maybe the steering committee doesn't want just an updated status report. It would like to get more in-depth reports and have meetings as well, and doing some investigation, stuff like that. So maybe D is not sufficient. You need to tailor your communication. You need to have a meeting. You need to acknowledge this change and process accordingly. So I would opt for A. Let's check the right answer. Yes, A is the right answer. On large projects, one sponsor might not be enough. The steering committee is established when a large project involves multiple business units, organizations, or individuals who all have a substantial stake in the project's success and outcomes. The project manager needs to be proactive and respond to this change. The initial communication plan for a single sponsor may not work for a steering committee. In order to ensure effective communication with the committee, the project manager must understand their communication requirements and preferences. Pre-manufacturing lines are producing 5 mm diameter cylindrical steel bars. In order to perform quality inspection, the project manager takes 10 random bars from each line. We have here the 10 bars until this one. The following are the inspection results in millimeter measurements, which are these measurements. Okay. The results of line 1 can be described as accurate, precise, both accurate and precise, or neither accurate or precise. So we can see here that the objective is to get 5 millimeters, and we can see here that for line 1 it's always around 445, sometimes less, sometimes more, which is not as expected, because we are expecting to be around 5 millimeters. In line 2, for instance, we have the average is 5, and as you can see, sometimes more.
I don't work
less.
tomorrow.
For line 3,
I don't work tomorrow.
the average is 5, and we have
They canceled it. They just sent a text.
so in line 1, it's not accurate, but it's precise, because it's always around 445. So the right answer should be B here. Let's check the right answer. Yes, the results are precise, because all measurements are close to 445. Precision entails
But they said it will be back open Tuesday, so.
dimensions, which may or may not be close to the required dimensions. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. A government contractor wants to keep the costs of building a public school under control while putting the risk on the vendor's side. So here, the government's contractor wants to put the risks on the vendor side. This seems like a keyword in this question. Moreover, the contractor wants to ensure that the seller is legally obliged to complete the contract. Otherwise, the seller may face financial liabilities. Which type of contract represents the least risk for the government contractor? Let's check the different options. We have fixed price, time and material cost plus incentive fee, and cost reimbursable. So among these different options, we know that the least risk for vendors is the fixed price, because in this contract we know already the price, and the government contractor could also oblige the seller to complete the contract, otherwise they may face financial liabilities. Let's confirm, yes, the right answer is fixed price contract. Let's move on to the next question. In an effort to increase agile knowledge, the project manager has been paired with other agile project managers to observe how they lead their teams. The project manager notices that many project decisions are the responsibility of the project team, while project managers are more facilitative than authoritarian, as they share a common vision and allow the team to focus on their work. So what leadership approach does this depict? A participative leadership or autocratic? It is not autocratic, because here we said that they are more facilitative than authoritative, which means that they are not autocratic. Transformational or servant leadership? Here we don't have enough information whether the leadership is transformational or participative. Here means democratic, but here I think the situation describes more a servant leadership, because here sharing common vision and facilitate works and let them focus on their work, etc. So these are traits of servant leadership rather than participative or transformational. So let's confirm the right answer. Yes, agile project managers generally follow the servant leadership style, which consists in leading through serving the team. Servant leadership focuses on capturing and addressing the needs of team members in order to achieve good team performance. Participative leadership, which means also democratic, involves soliciting team members' input, while decision making rests on the participative leader. Autocratic leadership is when the leader makes all decisions, and transformational leadership is when the leader motivates his team and enhances their productivity through high visibility and communication. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Project manager closed the first phase of the project and launched the second phase. Therefore, the project manager meets with the sponsor to check if any potential players were left out in the first phase and to discuss these new stakeholders' influence. The activity that the project manager is carrying out with the sponsor can be identified as planning stakeholder engagement, or identifying stakeholders, or planning resource management, or identifying risks. As you can see here, we are not talking about risks, we are talking about stakeholders, and the project manager checking whether there are stakeholders left out. So we are not talking about risks. Also, we are trying to list the stakeholders. So we are not trying to plan their engagement or to plan the resource for the project. So the right answer here should be identifying stakeholders. Let's confirm the right answer. Yes, B is the right answer. Let's move to the next question. A project manager is assigned to lead an industrial project. And the second phase of the project manager will need to hire dozens of remote workers.
Try the Daily 4 Commitment, a 4-supplement routine designed by our experts.
Jared and my father were so grateful for this day and to be able to be together as Mom Talk family. Please bless this food and bless that we can clear the air tonight and just hopefully get even closer than we are now. And we say this in Jesus Christ, amen.
No, that ain't gonna happen. Whitney's prayer is hilarious. Another moment of Whitney's delusion. She's not a part of Mom Talk, but if she wants to ask for some help from the man himself, she can go right ahead.
Wait, you renovating your home without refinancing or taking on a home equity loan? Yep, and no monthly payments either. How? With HomeTap, they invest in the future value got some breathing room. It honestly changed everything.
Workers. What is the best way for the project manager to quickly collect data from candidates? Video recordings, workshops, questionnaires and surveys, or live interviews? We can eliminate two right away. Workshops require a lot of time, and live interviews also require a lot of time because you have here dozens of remote workers and live interviews. Each interview should dure between 30 to 30 minutes to 1 hour, so you will spend a lot of time for interviews. Also for workshops, we are left with two options: questionnaires and surveys, or video recordings. Actually, video recordings will be more effective than live interviews because usually video recordings will require a couple of minutes for each candidate, maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes maximum. In some cases, it could be even 30 minutes, but usually it's short. Questionnaires and surveys are more effective if we would like to collect quickly data, because with questionnaires and surveys we can apply filters and do some statistics, and it's very effective for such cases. I would say C is the right answer, but here I'd like to give you an advice as a recruiter. Combining C with A in some cases is very efficient. I have tried this myself. I use questionnaires, and at the end of the questionnaires I ask candidates to record a short video about themselves, and in that video they should respond to one question or two questions. That's it. It should not be one. The key here is that you are going to see the person talking, and you'll get an idea about this person before meeting them in live interviews. So this will be very effective, believe me. But here, if we stick to the situation, and if we would like to choose the method that permits you to collect data quickly, C is the right answer. Let's confirm. Yes, surveys and questionnaires are written sets of questions designed to quickly gather data from a large number of respondents who are usually geographically dispersed. Alright, let's move on to the next question. The project manager who works at a web agency suggests creating a dropshipping e-commerce project since it's profitable. Her manager, on the other hand, doesn't fully agree. What should the project manager do to persuade her manager? A. Calculate the project's cost performance index. The project cost performance index, known as CPI, is used in predictive projects to understand how the project is performing. So it's not an indicator that the project is profitable or not. Here, that's the essence of the discussion between the project manager and the manager, is whether this project is profitable or not. CPI doesn't give you this information. SWOT analysis, this is used for assessing the project from a qualitative perspective, and it doesn't assess the project quantitatively. So it's not applicable in this case as well. You cannot persuade your managing using the SWOT analysis because it will not give you an indication whether this project is profitable or not. Calculate the project's budget at completion. Budget at completion is also used in predictive projects in which we are predicting to complete the project at that budget. So it's not a metric for defining whether the project is profitable or not. It's just how much we are going to spend.
That's crazy. 3 4 is nothing.
The project cost benefit ratio. This is what we are looking for actually. Cost benefit ratio is an indication for how the project will perform financially, and this is what the project manager should calculate, and this is what the project manager should show for the manager in order to convince them that the project is profitable. Let's confirm. Yes, the right answer is D. To persuade her manager to select the project manager should use the cost benefit ratio to demonstrate the project's profitability. Alright, let's move on to the next question. The project manager is running a project with remote and local resources. The remote team complains that they are not getting enough information about what's going on with the project, which has caused them to do some rework. So rework here means that the work is done not according to the planning, and the team needs to do the work again because of some misunderstanding or quality issues or any other cause. The project manager facilitates a conference call with the two teams in which they decide to switch to a sophisticated enterprise chat platform to optimize communications. Here, the two teams agreed about adapting this enterprise chat platforms. So to make this easier for your understanding, enterprise chat platforms could be Microsoft Teams, could be Slack. Let's check the question. Which conflict resolution technique did the project manager use? Collaborate? Yes. We can see that the project manager brings the two teams and facilitates a meeting, and the project manager reached a solution. So we can consider this as a collaborate. Compromise? No, because each of the two teams doesn't sacrifice or give any concessions. Therefore, compromise is not the right option. Force also is not the right option because the project manager did not force the use of any of the solutions for both teams. That's why force is not accurate. Smooth is also not accurate because the project manager doesn't lower the impact of the conflict. Instead, the project manager brings the two teams together and try to find a solution. And here, collaborate is the best term that describes this situation. Let's confirm. Yes, A is the correct answer. Collaboration or problem-solving conflict resolution technique is based on incorporating multiple viewpoints and insights from different perspectives. It necessitates a collaborative mindset and open communication to achieve consensus and commitment to an agreement. This approach aims to reach a win-win situation for all involved parties. Okay, let's move on to the next question. To better understand how the
Yeah, we're just slap them
goes,
right now.
detecting this
Yeah.
in abstraction and enabling stakeholders to communicate about it and what lies beyond its boundaries, the project manager uses a visual representation of how people and other systems interact with the new system. Which of the following tools does the project manager use? Affinity diagram, flowchart, context diagram, or influence diagram? Okay, I will show you here when I was working in the IT industry, a diagram that I used to describe the platform and how the different users, we have here the end user, the developer, how they are interacting with the system, and what are the different parts of the system and how they are interacting together. And this is known as a context diagram. So this is the kind of diagram that I described at that time to let everyone in the team understand what party of the system and how they are interacting together. And this is the end user, this is the developer, etc. So this is what it describes here in this situation as well, because here we have the visual representation of how people and other systems interact with the new system. This is an example, and for our situation, it depicts the context diagram. Let's confirm. Yes, the correct answer is C. Context diagrams are visual depictions of the product scope, displaying the business system and how it connects and interacts with other systems. Let's move on to the next question. Realizing that her project is not going according to estimations, the project manager suspects that it might be due to student syndrome. What does this syndrome imply? Let's check the different options about student syndromes. People who proceed with their studies during their professional careers. This is not correct. Right away, that does not imply student syndrome. Even it's related to students before, but the concept is projected to project management. Let's check B. People who begin to apply themselves only at the last possible moment before the deadline. So this seems like the right answer. Since we find the right answer for the student syndrome, I think it's wasted
Hey Amanda,
to continue with
I know
the
my
CMD
company is
and
like,
see
will be
this
safe, but what did I say?
once you find out the right
I said let people use their sick time they got so they can't use it later.
take it and move forward. Let's use this technique and check the right option. Yes, the right option.
Danny
is
won't
B.
get paid for it though.
Student syndrome is a term
Because,
used
I mean,
in
like,
project management to highlight the ever increasing habit of footing of work till the last minute, while initially working at a very relaxed pace. Let's move on to the next question. The project manager is managing a project using the Scrum framework. The project manager receives a call from the project owner asking for a meeting with the team to discuss the possible approaches to implement user stories and make some initial size estimations. So here the product owner wants to discuss with the team about the user stories and effect some initial estimations so the product owner could understand how big is the product backlog, how he can estimate the next releases or define the roadmap, etc. So let's see the question. What type of meeting is the product owner referring to? Is it sprint planning or story mapping or backlog refinement or brainstorm? Okay, so sprint planning is done at the beginning of each sprint. Imagine that we have a sprint here and we have a second sprint, we have a third sprint. At the beginning of each sprint, we have a sprint planning. And sprint planning time is fixed. I mean, usually we know in advance when the sprint planning.
Maya, do you like the blanket? Hmm? You like the blanket? Is it warm? Don't growl at me or you won't be able to sleep on it. Rose, you gotta get up. Good me. Good me. Yeah. 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 Move. And move. Maya. Move. 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 Move down. Move down. Move down. Mike, knee down. Mike. Mike. Knee down. Get it. Get it. Get down. Oh my. Love you so much. It's time to move. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you. Make this blanket about halfway done.
Nice.
Which is 6 skeins of yarn. And I've got, once I finish this one, it'll be 6, and then I've got 2 left. So I'll get 1 more. And then, we'll see. I haven't decided how long I want to keep it.
Ooh. Onwards way. Ooh, I clipped it. I'm alive. Try this. Okay.
Sometimes when she like faces another way, I like to grab her tail. Like it's solid, I just grab it and she goes, what the heck, what the heck, what the heck? I love you. Tell me you love me.
Fire on the mouth, thank you. I love you too. You turd.
Sugar, don't be a bother. Settle down. What did I just say? You're being a bother. Go over there. Go. Sugar Ant.